Hi everyone, it's Kara Wong, and I'm here today with my next leading lady, Sabeena Bubber. And we've got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. It's going to be fabulous, and I can't wait to get started. So, Sabeena, thanks for joining me today.
I'm so excited to be here, Kyra. Thank you so much for having me.
So, what's a limited belief that you've struggled with in life?
So, the limiting belief that I struggled with was that I'm not smart enough. I grew up in a traditional Indian household. My dad had a lot of emphasis on academics, as did my mom, because that's the focus of our culture, is that you need to be a doctor, lawyer, dentist, something, engineer. My dad was an engineer, to be a professional in life. And he wanted us to succeed as women. I have an older sister. And so academics was a big focus for us. I didn't learn through academics. I learned through experience. So for me, growing up, I didn't have the best marks. I wasn't able to get in to be a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. And my parents were just happy that I just made it through. Because at some point, I didn't think they knew that I would make it through at any point to really amount to anything.
And what's a current limiting belief you now have?
That I can't have it all. I have a successful career. I have two beautiful daughters. I have a very strong relationship with them, and I have a beautiful life. I'm living my dreams. What I've set out for myself, I've achieved, but I'm missing that one piece of having a partner, and I have that limiting belief that maybe I can't have it all.
Have you ever had a limiting belief as it relates to gender or race?
Oh, yes. For me, growing up in Regina in the 70s.
Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh, I just dated myself. Sorry. Actually, I meant the 80s. Growing up, there wasn't a lot of brown girls in the school, and I was picked on, beat up a couple times.
Oh, no.
When I was 5 and 6 by kids in grade 8. And so it really, I was teased, called names, you name it. It was just, it really affected me.
You were bullied.
I was definitely bullied, and just primarily because of the color of my skin.
Have you ever experienced a corporate glass ceiling? I find when I interview leading ladies, a lot of them who are mortgage brokers because they came from a financial background where they were bumping up against the glass. Was this true for you too?
Absolutely. I did work at the bank at one point, but at that point I was already a mortgage specialist and wasn't looking to promote. But prior to that, I worked with mortgage finance companies, and I worked as an underwriter for a secondary subprime mortgage lender. And there was no opportunity for me to promote. And I was given promises of promotion if I achieved certain results, and I demonstrated them and blew them through the roof in terms of my achieving the goals they set out for me. I blew them out of the water, and they would not promote me. It got to the point where I'd become so valuable in what I was doing because of the results I was producing. They didn't want to lose those results by promoting me and leaving that to somebody else.
What's a piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
The piece of advice I would want to give to myself is to start my professional development a lot earlier than I did. I only started my self-development, professional development, personal journey 10 years ago. Had I started 20 years ago, I think I'd be a lot further ahead of my life by now.
I also wanted to ask you about 100 Brokers Who Care, because you were the brainchild behind that. So why did you start this initiative, and what was your main reason for doing that?
I started 100 Brokers. My friend Wendy, her daughter passed away in a tragic accident. She drowned off Gambier Island with Wendy's ex-husband, who had taken her for the weekend, and they both drowned. And so Wendy was a single self-employed mom, and she literally didn't have the money to pay her rent that week because the child support wasn't going to come in. The girl was gone. Everything was it was a horrendous experience, and it was her only daughter, and she was absolutely devastated. But I created a Facebook group and added a bunch of brokers, and the next thing I knew, my GoFundMe page had received about $7,000 in donations from the broker community across Canada. So when that happened, I realized there are people on that list that I didn't know, that didn't know Wendy, and still opened up their hearts and their wallets to help a person who needed it. And that's when I realized within 3 weeks we had raised a total of $35,000, and then we just turned the tap off because Wendy was like, that's too much money. It's enough for me for right now. So we turned it off. And I realized that if I can make that impact for one person just by using social media, perhaps there's somebody in the East who might have a similar situation. And how about if we created this group of people that would do that consistently, where we put forth families, charities, people that we know that need help, and we can contribute as a collective. My dad. Yeah. My dad has taught me a lot about being a professional. My dad has held me to a higher standard. And whenever I've done anything or conducted myself in a certain way, I always have to ask myself, would my dad be proud of me? And if my dad, if the answer is yes, then obviously it's something I will do. So I've always been proud of myself in the sense that I conduct myself in a way that my dad would always be proud to say, yes, that's my daughter.
And didn't your dad just text you before we started this interview just to randomly tell you that he loves you?
He did, and he had no idea we're doing this right now. It just came out of the blue.
What a great dad! Mwah, 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 mwah.
So he was obviously just thinking about me, and his ears must have been burning knowing that he was going to come up today. I'm working on that. It's a work in progress. It's not perfect. I do believe that no matter who we are as human beings, that we will grow up as adults and have some sort of limiting beliefs that we go into adulthood, and that there are some scars from our childhood that we just cannot do to prevent our kids from experiencing. So I try to help them understand what those might be, but more important than not is just to raise them in a very supportive, understanding, loving environment.
So, social glass ceilings, #MeToo. It's my least favorite question to ask about, but because it's so prevalent and so damaging, I feel like it's an important topic to cover. So, have you had experiences where you were facing a social glass ceiling, having experienced a #MeToo moment in your life?
Yes, I have experienced it. I've experienced issues with that since I was 16. So my first job, where I was sexually harassed on the job by a man in his 40s, and at that point I'd never even been approached by a person at that age, even in school. So it was really shocking to me, and it's been an experience of that again and again and again throughout my career, whether it was corporate, whether it's as a broker, that kind of thing. And what would I say to a woman now? I don't know. I don't know, Kyra. I don't know the answer to that. What would I say to my younger self? I would say that your value is beyond who they see on the outside, and that you need to stand up for what your value is, and that we are smart enough, and we can sit at the table and be there because we earned it, not because we're pretty and we're eye candy.
Thanks, Sabeena. And for more leading lady interviews, visit magicalunicornproject.com.